Welcome to Dying for Likes. Sam Schacher, Al Jackson here.
Yes,
How are you feeling?
I feel good. I feel like I coach like a bobsled team that's not really
Oh,
good,
your
like with the
outfit?
outfit,
Yes.
but I just like, or maybe I just walk around like the ski resort and I tell people that's what I do because then no one's gonna check.
No, they're not.
And if I'm a black on the ski lodge, I'm like, oh, you had to follow up because you didn't think I was. So I'm gonna play on the little white guilt too, and just like that'll be my thing. It's just like walk around these areas with rich women, find a little sugar mama. But I always think like, don't you think you'd be bored?
What? To
Like
have a
be
sugar mama?
like if you were like like a live-in house person.
Gigolo?
Yeah, kind of like
I
I don't
would be bored because it's more common for women to find a sugar
sugar daddy.
a sugar daddy. And
I would
yes,
say it's very common. I
yeah.
just don't think it's spoken about often.
If listen, we used to live in Los Angeles. You go to Beverly Hills and boom. And I'm not saying it's only predominant in Beverly Hills, but you see it a lot in Beverly Hills. And I used to work at the club.
Yes.
And when I used to work at nightclubs, let me tell you, you would see a lot of people like Michael Bay. Michael Bay would be there, but a lot of his friends, and they look the same. They all have like that orangish colored hair.
Yeah.
They wear leather jackets with blue jeans. Somehow they think that makes them look like young and hip.
Because
And
no
then,
one's ever told them
I know.
because they're rich.
Yeah. And then they have a bevy of like 20-year-olds around them. And I was always grossed out by that. Always. But yes, I would be bored if like my job was to go shopping during the day and then have my sugar daddy at night. No thanks.
Yeah, I wonder, and it's like something we'll never get a real accurate count on, but just like, everyone's like, no one wants to work anymore. What's up with that? And it's just like, I think a lot of people realize that they can make 10 times as much money taking pictures of their hands or feet or having a little sugar daddy mixed with a little OnlyFans, mixed with a little. I just think that that's why these people are not in service jobs. They're like, I could do something that at least I'm in control of because we used to look at those videos, in our show, Daily Blast Live, watch it every day. And, I'll never forget that video we showed of that guy that was throwing the milkshakes at the young girls at Jamba Juice. Remember that? And it's just like I looked at that and I was like, watch this clip. Anytime you go, oh, the subway's paying $20 an hour, no one's hiring. It's because no one wants to deal with that anymore. And if you have another option, you're gonna take it.
Here's the thing though. Here's the caveat. There is a stigma. I'm not saying I agree with it, attached to having an OnlyFans page. Now, if you can have longevity in that career, all the power to you. That's not for me.
Right.
Listen, as someone in Hollywood who was offered many of those types of jobs, knew that if I would have engaged in those jobs, it could have hurt having a job like I have today at Daily Blast Live. So It was a long road, right? It's like tortoise in the hare. It was a long road to get here. I would
The
say
tortoise in the hair had nothing to do with distance. Nothing at all. Yeah, but okay. Like
taking the short, quick route,
yes.
like the hair. Well, no, the hair.
No, they went the exact same distance. That would make it a strange story. That the tortoise just cheated and like was driven there. Like, and that's let that be a lesson to you kids. Let me ask you this before we get started, because just you said something and you're so honest. Like, I don't feel like anybody would ever give this information. Is there coded language that is said to young, attractive women auditioning that says, hey, if you want this part, you need to show me how much you want this part? Like, there needs to be some extracurriculars. How is that stated without it being stated?
Okay.
Or is it just stated?
No, well, yes, one which I talked about on the show. There was one time where it was stated, where this very nice, that's what surprised me, is this guy was very nice, very kind, had a family. Never in a million years did I think he would try to have a contract with me. And it literally was like a contract. And I had a show at the time. I was shopping around and he took interest into it. And then when I found out through email, which I still have, by the way, that he said, not in
boomer.
I know.
Wait a
Well, this is back in like probably 2005.
Oh, so people didn't know it was going to come back on them?
No.
Oh, wow.
No, like I don't even know if people, I guess you could have texted with like Blackberries. It wasn't a thing to like constantly be texting back then, but he wrote in the email, listen, I am not happy in my marriage, but I love my marriage and I love my kids. I just want to have fun. And I'll hook you up with a cell phone. I'll hook you up with a condo. I'll help you with this television show I'm on. And it was probably one of the biggest shows at the time. And yeah, he's pretty much said, I'll give you X, Y, and Z if you give me sex.
Did you think about it for a second?
No, I was so upset.
I might have thought about it.
Listen, I'll be honest. If it was somebody that I was attracted to and I was single at the time, yeah, maybe I would have entertained it because then you get your cake and eat it too. Right. I was not attracted to him. I was really hurt because I thought he was interested.
Just a friend. Or like the idea.
He was interested in my work. So then it took my self-esteem, a 20-year-old who thought she was a good writer, who thought this executive producer was interested in her work. It literally made me go from, okay, I'm talented to, okay, I'm just a piece of ass.
Right.
So it really hurt my self-esteem and it took me some time to get over it. I severed ties with him. It actually got quite messy. So that's the only incident. Really quickly, the other incidents where I would go out on auditions, it was never said in coded language, but looking back, I should have read between the lines. One, trust your instinct, because some of those auditions were in a home. That is a big no-no. Wow. No, ask a lot of women in Hollywood, a lot of young girls in Hollywood thinking, oh, I'm showing up to this big executive's home. That's must be normal.
Yeah. He's skipping the corporate offices and bringing me right in.
Yeah. And so I think they read me because I was always very assertive. I never was flirtatious. I think they read me as, okay, this isn't going to fly. But I'll tell you, I should have trusted my gut that going into their home and sitting on a couch was huge red flag. And maybe if I was a little bit more flirtatious, maybe that coded language or direct language would have followed suit, but it never did. So yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Gross.
Wow.
Hollywood can be very gross.
Well, it's just the power dynamic like any place else. I always said people like put it on Hollywood, but it's like, I guarantee you the Hooters in Gainesville, Florida has waitresses talking about other ones that are like, wow, Sam got the Saturday night shift again during the UFC fight. How'd that happen?
Oh, that is so real.
You know,
I used to work in the clubs.
So
I was
it's
stuck
the same
like Wednesdays because I was not doing things with certain high-end.
No woo Wednesday.
Yeah. Yeah. And I literally would be like, dude, why does what's her face get Thursdays and Saturdays? And I would find out that what's her face certainly was providing some favors. So there is dynamics there. All right.
Well, let's get into it.
Yes, we're going to get into something that I actually remember because this was a big story in the Bay Area. I'm from Santa Cruz. Shout out to Santa Cruz.
Shout out.
This is a really tragic story. All of them are. Again, our whole podcast, Dying for Likes, you look back at, could have this been avoided? I'm sure it could have. And this one involves alcohol. Now, we still don't know the extent of it, but let's back up to 2018, October 23rd. This is when this very beloved couple, very cute, by the way. So it was mainly her account called Holidays and Happily Ever Afters. She had bright pink hair, very vivacious. This was an Indian couple, very smart, by the way. Both of them engineers, both of them successful, both of them not willing to quit their day job when technically they probably could have because they were in very lucrative careers in order to travel because all they wanted to do, they had that traveling.
Right. They were they were like kind of the first travel vloggers.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely. Yes. And so most of the content featured her, but you also got to see their mostly national parks, although he took her. So they got married in 2014 and he took her to her very first trip together to the Maldives. And that's where she, according to him, really became addicted to travel. So he would say he would have to reel her back because she was very adventurous and loved adrenaline. He just liked to get out there and see things.
Right. Yeah, that was the dynamic I picked up from it because they were both engineers, if memory serves.
Recalls.
Yeah. And she's an engineer with pink hair. And I'm sure that engineers are, and they make the world go round, shout out, but they are probably not the most lively bunch. I'm sure a lot of them are very focused on their work, not focused on play at all, if ever. And so he's just in this line of work. His parents are proud and he's done the thing that he's supposed to do. And this pink-haired engineer came and shook his world up.
1,000%.
Shook his world he probably had never met a woman like this. That was this dynamic, but also handled her business. And so I'm sure that eventually worked where she had a lot of pull and a lot of say over the decisions he made. So please continue.
Yes, so very vivacious couple. They seemed very much in love, and they had 23,000 followers. But here's something that a lot of people don't know when you really unpack social media followings. Sometimes you can see somebody with 250,000 followers and they get like 100 comments.
Right.
Now, she having 23,000 followers would get 2,000 comments. So her followers were loyal. So, okay, so let's get back to the couple. So Viswanathan, 29, Morthy, 30. Those are their last names, Vinshu and Minak Kakshi. But she actually had a nickname that I would like to refer to, because every interview that I watched, that's who her friends and her family referred to her as. So Vishnu is the husband, and Meenakshi, and she used to call him Captain.
I love that.
Like, really cute couple. Okay, so let's get back to what actually happened back on October 23rd, 2018. Now, I told you I'm from the Bay Area. Probably our most beloved park is Yosemite. There's a lot of beautiful areas in California, in the Bay Area, but Yosemite is something special. You got Half Dome, you got waterfalls, you got all sorts of things. In fact, about 10 people die every year in Yosemite. Sometimes it's lack of food and water from a hike. Sometimes it's underlying health conditions. And a lot of times it's people falling in those crevices and ravines.
Oh, gosh.
I know. And so you don't, even if you go to Yosemite, you'll see plaques, and it's not even bulletins. It's like actual wooden plaques saying, if you're climbing Half Dome, don't take a selfie while holding onto a cable.
Wow.
Because they have the cables there for people to climb. If you've ever seen, is it called Free Solo? You see,
yes.
You see, like,
they have that on every plane I'm on United. I can't watch it. I can't even watch a preview.
El Capitan, I
yes.
think. Okay, so El Capitan, this was at Taft Point. So you got Taft Point, El Capitan, Glacier Point. You have all of that area where you're able to see where they hiked. Okay, so she and her husband hiked up there. And again, though, my point was in Yosemite, because a lot of people go there. And here's something that's interesting, that before we get into unpacking it, because there's so many gorgeous photos of people hiking or climbing Half Dome or El Capitan, some of the park rangers say that it's desensitized the public to think that it's a safe place when it is not. So think about that. Do you think by being conditioned, looking at certain photos on social media of a girl with pink hair, that you would think, okay, this is probably pretty safe and I could go climb it too and take a picture right here and it not be dangerous?
And see, that's the thing. She looks like a regular person. I mean, she's in shape, but she looks like an engineer.
But they climb more than the average person.
But she didn't look like, we were just talking about our beloved friend Jen Wiederstrom, who used to be on DBL.
Yep.
And I'm not speaking on it. One of the best physiques on a human being. But if you saw Jen doing that same thing, you'd be like, oh, I need to have inner quad muscles to climb that.
Yeah.
And so, I think there's that dynamic. And the other dynamic, Sammy, that I thought about was, okay, let's say Sam and your partner Mark, you guys are travel vloggers. You were just talking about there's beautiful pictures of that everybody has. Well, if you guys are travel vloggers, can you have the same picture that Mary Jo Sue has next door, who's works for the power company? Like, you guys have to get that picture that nobody else gets. So then on top of it, when you had that financial incentive, which we talked about before on the show, I think that's another driving force. I think there was a lot of forces converging here, and they were all bad. And
two other variables. Her thrill, right? She was a thrill seeker. In fact, coincidentally, there was another hiker who took pictures of the scenery there, and you can see her in the background.
I saw that picture.
Eerily close to the edge. And it gave him, his very words were, it gave him the willies, because he saw, and she stood out because
of her 90-year-old pirate that they interviewed, washed up on the breakers there.
It gave him the willies because she was that close to the edge. Now, they also had, so what had happened to the couple is they were hiking at Taft Point, and they had fallen into a ravine, and it's seen that it was instantaneous, because when the helicopter and the rangers and everybody came out, the rescuers, to get them, and they had to utilize everything from rappelling to the helicopter,
I couldn't imagine,
to retrieve their bodies. They had already known that they I believe fell about 3,000 feet. So they had already assumed that they were not alive. And when they retrieved them, the government there shut down, which is located coincidentally like somewhere that I used to swim in Modesto. So the area that goes and investigates these, they don't know if it's a crime or not, right? In Yosemite.
I never thought about that.
They actually shut everything down. And they go and they map everything out. They want to make sure that there is no malicious or foul play. And what they do to make sure that there's nothing nefarious is they also do a toxicology report. And so they do an autopsy. And there was alcohol found in there. No drugs were found, but alcohol was found in their systems. They cannot determine how much alcohol. So was it one glass of wine, a glass of champagne when they're up there? Was it an exorbitant? Is that the word?
Yeah, that's the right word. That's yeah.
I say weird words and I'm like, where did that come from? So they don't know how much was involved. Were they super intoxicated, which led to their demise? They don't know. Were they taking a selfie? They don't know. They assume because they're there with her travel blog and they had already posted pictures of Yosemite that their goal was to take that ultimate photo, and that they could have slipped. But still to this day, here we are in 2022, they don't know exactly what caused their death, despite having the government come in and try and unpack everything.
Well,
so
that's one of the things. And
what do you think happened?
This is speculation, but I think something else was going on with her. I think that she may have gotten addicted to this lifestyle. I think that she was a very, boisterous person, a person that wanted to keep pushing the limits.
He did say that he would have to reel her back.
Right. So, and I wonder if this was the point where maybe he tried to reel her back or something happened, but it's very strange.
Why both of them fall?
But the reason I'm saying this, I'm not just trying to start anything. The photo that was taken by the man with the willies, It was just her in the photo. So it's just a weird thing because my buddy Forrest Shaw, he had recently gone to Taft Point, and he was like, I can't imagine anybody just driving up here because the roads are so crazy and windy. You would almost have to be like an expert driver just to get up there. So the idea of being drunk, he was like, it's impossible. He's a road comic. This guy drives cars. And he was like, I couldn't imagine trying to do that with one glass of wine in me. I mean, this is serious. This isn't like a straight line up the hill at a cute little mountain overlook. This is serious hiking. So, I just wonder if this was a couple at a crossroads. I wonder if this was a woman that was, and we are all going to experience it. I have no medical basis. Like if she was experiencing a mental health crisis, which I have before, it's not a bad thing. It's just about when and where you have it. So I'm not sure. Obviously, this is strictly speculation, but I just wonder if not foul play, but things got carried away, and sometimes things happen, and
really
you can't.
I saw it as just something super relatable. Again, this is a cautionary tale in my opinion, and I could be wrong. I don't see anything. I see it as a couple who 29 and 30 years old. That's young. Like if I were to go hike a beautiful point at 29 and 30, now 42-year-old Sam would not combine alcohol and hiking and cliffs.
Yeah.
Even like wherever you go, Yosemite, Telluride, they tell you stay away from waterfalls, stay away from cliffs. Like those are the two things that you should stay away from. We just had our whole railroad facts.
Yeah.
So also stay away from waterfalls and cliffs. But I actually think this is a couple, to your point, who she is the adventurous one. She's the thrill seeker. He's straight and narrow. And I believe that she wanted to get a beautiful shot for her Instagram that was quite successful.
Right.
And she wanted to take a picture with him, and they slipped and they both fell. Maybe they were holding hands at the time. Maybe she had her arm around him and she pulled him back by accident. Maybe he pulled her back by accident. That's what I think happened. Very innocent. Could happen to any one of us, which is very alarming and scary.
Did you look at the picture of her?
Yeah. What are you thinking? The eyes?
Yeah.
Okay.
She just seemed like she was
too brilliant. Now, her professors literally said that she was so brilliant that she was the type of person that wouldn't really have to. I'm not saying she didn't try. She obviously had to do quite a bit of work to get the jobs that she did. He worked at Cisco in San Francisco, which is a great corporation to work for. But there is something to say about somebody who maybe is a little bit too smart for their own good.
But just an eccentric personality that is now being supercharged. And I can say I experienced this on a much smaller level as
you
as a
don't have to
comic.
try really,
You know,
for a lot of things.
Yeah, it's
you
like
do work hard, but
yeah, I was just saying in terms of like, okay, you're already kind of a boisterous person. I'm already kind of an extra person. If at a young age, or especially if I'm coming out of a square job where like I'm not used to any kind of limelight, you get the first experience of the Maldives. So now that just sets the table. So like, wow, I think I really like this. You then start going places. You like those too. And on top of it, people are like, great shot. I follow you guys. I love you. I love you. I love you. Keep going. I can't wait to see the next place is. I can't wait. You guys are the reason I get up in the morning. You're leading the you guys are inspiration. So you're hearing all this. And you're not, again, some 21-year-old Sam who's come up. You've had ups and downs, and you know people will show you love and you'll be down. That initial rush of just, I am famous.
And in 2018, when Instagram was like, when you were part of like the travel blogger community with 2,000 comments, she definitely was, without knowing or intentionally knowing, to Al's point, whether she's addicted to travel, addicted to the fame, addicted to the likes, whatever it may be, it was almost like a new career path she was pursuing.
Right. And
more than he was.
And not thinking about pursuing. She was pursuing it She had a look. Yeah. She has a story. Yep. She's got an international following. She is balling.
She was funny too. Yes. Calling him captain. Like she knew her place. She knew his place. He was the straight man. She was the funny one.
And then all I'm saying, Sam, is what if the straight man don't want to play no more?
You cannot paint that picture.
I'm just saying, I'm not saying like he doesn't want to do it anymore. I'm saying we've had fun up to a point. You are starting to want to do crazier and crazier things. I don't want to go that far. I'll go to this ledge. I'm not going past that ledge.
She could have been like, come on, just get this picture with me, please. My
but
followers.
Then why did we just see that picture of just her?
That's a good point. Maybe she was doing multiple. If you look at her page or their page, most of the content is her. So perhaps she wanted one picture as a couple at the cliff, and then it was their demise. I mean, to Al's point, we don't know the details of how they died.
I'm just presenting another scenario. And like, before anybody goes, how could you? You didn't know she's great. I'm sure she was.
Yeah, that's the point.
But we are all human beings capable of anything at any time. People love that story about the mom pulling the car off of the baby, whether that's true or not, you know, with adrenaline, whatever. It's people like to think that human beings can do superhuman things that are incredibly good. Literally, we've shown video of people catching babies out of high rises. Human beings are incredibly dope, but there is a pendulum to everything in life. And I'm sorry, but these are just big facts. The other side of that pendulum is, even if you have not been a criminal warlord your whole life, you are capable on one given day or a couple weeks of doing something that you never thought you could do.
What are you saying? That she pushed him?
No, not literally pushed him.
Like meaning like, hey, come over here. We're going to take this picture, and then lost balance.
Or maybe wanted him to stage something, do something.
Right. That he was uncomfortable with.
Because both can't be true. He can't be incredibly cautious, and then he gets to one of the most dangerous points in the country, and all of a sudden he's doing handstands at the cliff. That dog don't hunt. That dog don't hunt. So I'm just saying,
oh my God, you love that saying.
Anything could be true. And I know it's such an easy way to get out of something, but I'm not in something because I'm not accusing anybody. I'm just saying
what you're saying.
I'm just saying it's a possibility. Right. I could see it.
What you're saying is not sinister, because listen, I'm a lot more adventurous than Mark is. My husband is very cautious. When we go on hikes and I want to get a picture by a waterfall, I'm much more like, oh, let's do this. And Mark's like, no. And I could see me being like, oh, come on. Right. And then there's the end of Sam and Mark.
Right. No, there's the end of Mark and Sam feeling crazy, guilty. Maybe Sam, Romeo and Juliet's it.
Okay. Whoa, really?
I'm just saying.
Wow. Okay, so that's okay. So we don't know the details. There are many theories.
I'm just saying.
No, and there's a lot of theories on their account from a few years ago of a lot of their followers saying the same thing. We're exploring it too. Our thoughts and prayers go out to their family. Very tragic story. And again, cautionary tale. If you are out and about near a waterfall, near a cliff, it's not worth the picture. We've told you how many countless times of these examples of people literally dying for likes. So be cautious. And again, if you're in Yosemite, why do I say Yosemite?
You kept saying Yosemite, but I was like, that's the thing though. You're from there.
Trump said Yosemite.
Yeah. Yeah. That was amazing.
Yeah, Yosemite. I grew up saying Yosemite. I don't know why. But anywho, be careful. That's the point, especially when you're in a place with El Capitan and these glorious, unbelievable, I would say probably the most beautiful state park that I visited. But again, because you see it all the time, I think that's probably the caveat today, because you see people that look average climbing these peaks or going on these beautiful hikes on social media. Don't allow it to normalize. I understand it because it does for me too, where it's safe. Because I felt the same way in Telluride when Mark and I were hiking. I had seen so many photos of everyday people on these hikes, but they're just as dangerous. You've got to be cautious.
And especially if you don't know what you're doing out there. Yeah. It's like I don't, and most people don't. And when I'm not saying like, know how to hike up the mountain, bro. I got you, bro. What I'm saying is, what do you do when a snowstorm comes out of nowhere? Which I have friends that are professional hikers, and they said that happens, or any kind of mother nature, you break your ankle, whatever. Do you know what to do then? And if you don't go for that shot. I get it, but like,
get away from the cliff.
It's, internet saturated anyway. Like 200 likes. Come on.
Get away from the cliff.
236.
You can follow me at Sam Schacher. Follow you at, is it IG Al Jackson?
No, it's not.
What is it?
I've known Sam. I've probably spoken to Sam more than, I would say, maybe 5 more people in the last 6 years. We've talked every day for hours on TV and off. And you don't know my Instagram, not even close.
Jackson.
Why would I start my Instagram with Instagram?
Al Jackson IG?
I'm real Instagram at Al. No,
what is it?
It's Al Jackson IG.
Okay. Oh my gosh. You acted like I didn't know your Instagram. Sorry.
It was the exact opposite.
I flipped it.
Yeah, people won't find it. It's like, what? Okay, I'll flip an address next time. Oh, did I say 58? 958 I meant. It's a big difference.
I was so close, and you know it. Al Jackson IG, Sam Schacher. Make sure you subscribe to Dying for Likes. Share it, please. We love the love.
That's right. Papa Smoke, we're out.